Canadians are currently grappling with the issue of food inflation. In fact, the latest figures show that food inflation increased 8.5% in July, which is creating some serious financial problems for Canadian families. Now, according to some critics of supply management, Canada's system of protecting dairy, chicken, turkey, and egg farmers makes the issue of food inflation worse. And according to our next guest, a new bill in front of the Canadian Senate would prevent Canada from engaging in any trade agreement that gives international farmers additional access to the Canadian market. Well, joining us now to discuss Bill C-282 and supply management is Mr. Lawrence Herman, Senior Fellow at the Howe Institute. Sir, thank you again for your time today.
You're welcome.
So, sir, in layman's terms, can you give us a quick description of what supply management in Canada currently looks like and your overall stance on this policy and how it impacts competition?
Sure. Supply management applies to a certain part of the agricultural sector, chickens, poultry rather, eggs, and milk, particularly milk. And I was addressing in my column in the Globe the fact of milk or the dairy product side of supply management. What supply management does, very briefly, is it maintains prices at a level that ensures the producers make money. And that's what it's all about. And it's regulated at the federal level and at the provincial levels. It's been in Canada for over 50 years. And it's time to end this system because the people who pay for the supply managed system are the consumers, you and me.
And on that note, how does this current system play into inflation and the cost of food in Canada?
Well, I'm not an economist. You have to ask economists that. But by keeping the price of these supply managed agricultural products high, they're set by a committee in Ottawa and the provinces. By keeping those prices high, it adds to fuel inflation. In other words, there isn't effective competition in that part of the agricultural market that is managed by this supply managed system.
And I know you were quite the opponent of Bill C-282, as you mentioned in your Globe and Mail article. So what impact would this bill have on Canada's ability to pursue free trade agreements around the world?
That is an excellent question. The way Canada keeps supply management system intact is by keeping imports out of the market. And that was something that was allowed under the WTO agreement. Canada managed to get that included in the WTO agreement. So we maintain a system in Canada that effectively prevents imports from coming into the market. Low-priced imports that would result in competition, keep the prices of those products down, benefiting the consumers. So we keep, let's say, dairy products from abroad, let's say from the United States or from New Zealand or from Australia, out of the market in order to maintain a supply managed pricing system in Canada. Now, some of the trade agreements Canada has concluded gives a bit of access to foreign suppliers. What this bill does is it amends legislation to say that Canada cannot increase any foreign access in any future trade deal. It's a very regressive piece of legislation, and it's a precedent. We've never done that before. It's one thing to have a policy, but to have a law that now prevents Canadian negotiators from agreeing to any foreign increase into our market for dairy, poultry, or eggs is very, very harmful. And it harms Canada's international negotiating position rather seriously.
And how do you see this bill, Bill C-282, impacting food prices in any way?
Well, if we're prevented from agreeing to even a modest increase in foreign supply, let's say of milk or dairy products, it maintains the prices that are set by the committees that establish price levels for commodities, agricultural commodities in Canada, and it adds to the costs of milk, butter, eggs, yogurt in the supermarkets. Rather than opening our market to foreign competition to lower the prices, we are protecting a shrinking domestic market. And what's worse, and this is what concerns me, we are prevented under international trade rules from exporting onto world markets. The result is we're protecting a shrinking domestic market, and we're not taking part in global opportunities like New Zealand, Australia, and other countries are doing. We're shooting ourselves in the foot in a very major way.
Sir, thank you again for joining us today and unpacking Bill C-282 for us.
You're welcome.